Howdy, 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 y'all. What is going on? Today is a chest and tricep day. And what that's going to consist of is the usual suspects of chest and tricep exercises. Some type of pushing, some type of flying movement, whether that be some incline flying, The whole thing about this is, typically you should be doing the same kind of things, right? So I haven't done a whole lot of incline Smith machine bench in a little bit. So I'm gonna be consistent with that and do either a free weight or whatever it may be, So and what's crazy about the whole Smith machine thing is I love the Smith machine. I just haven't done it in a little bit. But the whole thing about the Smith machine is people used to hate on that. Like they said, like it was almost like, oh, chicks do this exercise. Oh, if you use the Smith machine, you're But like, it's so much better for you, to be honest, than like, well, I wouldn't say it's so much better for you, but there's other benefits, right? I feel like with dumbbells or a Smith machine, you can just go to true failure. Because unlike barbell, free weight, if you go to failure by yourself, well, you're cooked. Like, truly cooked. So, I mean, I gotta see what I want to do. Because I'm not sure if I really want to do it, I gotta feel exercise. Like, I feel like I want to do them, type, like, not like a spiritual awakening, feel, but like a, this sounds like a good idea today, right? Like, this sounds like it's really going to be the best thing for that thing. So, we're just going to kind of go in there and see, Like, if I feel the contraction, that's what I'll be doing, right? And it's something I need to get better at is, for some reason, I could love a movement. I'll do like 6-8 sets of chest that day, but I'll only do like max 2 or 3 sets of that exercise. What I need to start doing is, I love that exercise, so I need to do like 4 or 5 sets and then one more exercise choice and then do 2 or 3 sets of that. So it's, I gotta just like actually be consistent with like things I like, So it's just a whole figuring out what I like to do or what I want to do, So I'm not gonna complain, about anything towards it, It's just something I need to figure out because if you enjoy an exercise, why not do it a lot, That's my whole thing about it. Because I think I like variety because I get bored. Not bored, but I have ADHD. So, like, I want to go to all different types of things and do all different types of things. But, I don't know. But, other than that, we're just going to get right into it, y'all. Alright, so, for the first exercise of the day, we're going to be doing an incline upper chest dumbbell bench. Make sure you're keeping your elbows tucked in when you're doing these and explode on the way up and then go really slow on the way down to get the most control and the best stretch available. Go down to about where you can touch, honestly, your shoulders and then go right back up and train to failure, train heavy, and train hard, but keep your form strict. And do not flare your elbows out by any means necessary. Alright, now we're going to be working on the middle to lower chest and a little bit of the front delt. But what I like to do in the very beginning, as you'll see on this portion, I kind of like to make it like a pressing movement. But then what I like to do is I like to transition my elbows kind of just going in. So like think of your arms in like a 90-degree angle, kind of going like a lateral raise kind of motion, and then really just pull those elbows in together and really squeeze. So that's what you should be feeling, is that deep squeeze. But we're going to make sure we have our head on that platform right there, as you see, and we're kind of farther back with our feet to get the best stretch possible rather than being up close and personal with it. And now we're just going to be doing one all-out set and a drop set toe failure on this movement to get the best lower chest available. You're also going to be hitting a little bit of triceps when you're doing this, just from how close you are going to be with your hands. But it's just a really good squeeze overall, and keep your elbows in when you're doing this. And now we have 2 sets of a push down, and specifically hitting the triceps and also specifically hitting the lateral head, which is going to be the outside part, as you'll see right there. And a lot of times recently I've been having a little bit of elbow pain, and what helps out with me is holding at the top right here, because holding at the top actually can strengthen your joint bones and all that. But we're really just going to be exploding down and getting a deep stretch at the top. So hold for a few seconds and then go down. So you're going to be going a little lighter than what you want to, but trying to failure. Now we're going to be hitting the long side of the tricep, because we're doing an overhead movement. If your arms are pushed down to your side, you're going to be hitting more of like the lateral head and stuff. But if you have your hands and elbow over your head, you're going to be hitting a lot of the long head and a little bit of the medial head. But trying to failure. And I just like this movement right here specifically because it's doing laterally, so you're going to be doing one arm at a time, which just allows me to like contract that muscle in each arm a little bit more. And if you're a fellow with imbalances, which I have thankfully recovered from because I used to have a bunch, but these help a lot, even getting those evened out. Okay. And now we're going to be hitting the triceps. This is my second set right here, but obviously we're going to be doing 2 sets then. Make sure when you do it before, as you see, I kind of like put everything in a tight position as you see, and then I like to just go up with my pinky finger, because that's the way you'll hit a lot of your side delt instead of like a lot of your traps or anything else. But we're just going to be going straight up and out. All right, y'all. So I have one very specific thing I want to talk about you guys with. Hold on one second. You need to rehydrate, first of all, after the sauna and after the gym, period. But you need some electrolytes too, just so you know. So I'm after, when I get back to the crib, we getting some electrolytes in the system. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. I've came up with a psychology, is it psychology? Or a definition, I don't even know. I've come up with my meaning, and it makes sense for me on why you get so disappointed in yourself whenever you promise yourself things but you don't go through it. So the most simple way I can think of it is, I was kind of thinking to myself yesterday, I'm asking myself, why do us humans promise ourselves things so many times and so often, but then a lot of people, including myself a lot of times, not a lot of times, but it depends on certain things, not really the gym, nothing like that. But when it comes to just kind of like normal, smaller life to day-to-day things, like maybe it's, laundry I might have to do, or dishes or something, right? Just something small, usually, right? But for a lot of people, it may be the gym. But what I'm getting at is, when we promise ourselves things and we say, let's just say this for definition, or not for definition, for example, you say, I'm going to go to the gym 6 days a week, every day, every week, for the whole year. 1 month in, you've only gone to the gym 3 times that whole month. And you go, man, I'm really upset at myself. And then you keep promising yourself these things and you don't go through with them. Now, what I've realized is, think about it like this. You promise a buddy of yours, or your significant other, or family member, to help them on certain tasks. Hey man, can you help me around the house? Hey man, can you I don't know, mow the lawn for me? Hey man, can you do this? Can you do that? And you promise all these things, right? You're saying, yes, I can do that for you. And then you don't pull through those things. You have excuses, right? You say, nah man, I can't do it today. I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and you never do it. And you keep doing that over and over again. And that person that you keep promising these things to is going to realize there's a pattern with you. You're not reliable. You are not a good person to go to. And what your brain is going to do is, you're going to build a pattern in your brain of making these promises, getting all this motivational with words, but then never go through with your actions. Now, they always say actions are louder than words, because they mean more. They're more significant, because if you promise these things but then never go through with them, that's going to stand out more than just making the promise, right? So, in your brain, we have subconscious and conscious. We have 2 different people up here. This outer layer and then the inside part in your head that is still kind of confusing, right? But this is a shell, right? This is someone not even real, because all that's really real is my eyeballs connected with my brain, which is super crazy to think. Like, I can move all this, but this really isn't real. Like muscles, everything, they're great, they're awesome. But the one thing is, these are 2 different people. And when you make promises to yourself with words outside your mouth, or maybe you're thinking it, you're consciously thinking, okay, we're going to get these things done. But then when you don't go through with them, subconsciously you're disappointed. And then you might say it out loud consciously that you're really disappointed. And then that's when you're really messed up. So what happens is, you basically promise this other person inside you, I'm going to do these great things for myself, and then you never commit to them. What is your brain going to think of? Well, what's the only thing that it can think of? You're an unreliable thing to go to, and then you just won't do that. That's why it's so hard to break these bad habits, right? That's why it's so hard to get into good habits a lot of times, because we're so used to the same pattern. And that's where it gets really messed up and weird. Like I said, we just build patterns like other people, building patterns on others, right? Because you build this relationship. And if that relationship within yourself is destroyed, because you can't ever commit to something, how are you supposed to become a better person? Because your pattern recognition is saying you are not reliable, you're not good enough. All those negative things will add up, right? And that's why it's so important, if you promise yourself something, that you fully go through with it. Or maybe once in a while you don't do something, right? The laundry, like for instance, like I said before, sure, the little things, right? But don't let those little things stack up. Don't say I'm going to do the laundry and then don't do the laundry. Don't say I'm going to do the dishes and then don't do the dishes. Don't say I'm going to get off my phone more and then not get off your phone more. Don't do that. That's a battle that you're creating within yourself that's going to be disastrous. All right? Because if you don't learn how to stop promising yourself these things and learn how to just, not do those things, you're gonna end up in a destructive path. And you may not even realize it. And that's the weird part about all of this, is you may not realize what you're doing, right, in the moment. But when you finally are at the end of the day and you haven't done much, let's say you skipped your laundry, you skipped the gym that day, you work a part-time job maybe, you only did that, what is your brain going to think about? You are a failure, because humans are genetically built to be efficient, productive things. If we are productive or efficient or, whatever it may be, we're usually happier overall. So don't let things stack up. All right? Don't let that little bit by bit destroy you, right? Because they say a little bit goes a long way. That's a huge thing. And then it's not like, if you invest a cent into the stock market and that's it, that's not going to gain any value. But let's say you invested $1 each and every day. Yeah, it's not much, but over time, $7 a week, that's going to accumulate to $365 a year. And then that's going to, slowly ramp up. I know $1's not much in the stock market, but that's just a little example. But your dollar will be worth more is what I'm saying. That 365 might go up to 500, So that's the whole thing about it, man. Be smart. And be smart with your words and how you display them out into this world. Right? Because innerly is what matters almost the most out of everything in this world. If you can conquer what's in here, you can conquer a lot of stuff outside of here. All the BS, everything. So, I'm going to wrap it up there, y'all. And I hope you guys have a very blessed day. And I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.